Application of the clinical experience in multiple settings.
I'm Chloe Nordquist reporting.
Chloe, thank you for that report. Well, that's going to do it for us today. I'm Michelle London. Denver 7 News at 5 starts right now.
The bank is supposed to protect you and the bank is supposed to help you.
A Denver teacher scammed out of thousands of dollars through an online banking service.
And pretty much everyone just kept saying, you authorized it, so we can't do anything about it.
Contact Denver 7 is now getting her results as U.S. lawmakers work to make sure others don't fall for the same scam.
According to the reports, the banks are well aware of these scams, but have done little to enhance Zelle's security.
Plus, anti-Semitic hate crimes skyrocketing in Colorado.
And advocates call for treatment instead of prison as Colorado senators debate the ever-evolving fentanyl bill.
We have to be very careful about how that bill is worded.
First tonight, we have learned that one person is dead at the scene of a house fire in Castle Rock this afternoon. We know the fire happened at a home along Dove Valley Place. That's just off Founders Parkway.
Castle Rock police are telling us that one person was taken to the hospital, and they say they are working on, quote, multiple investigations right now. Now, one of those investigations includes what caused the fire and how that person died. We do have a crew there on scene right now working to get more details. It's a live picture. We will bring you the latest once we learn more. And good evening to you, and thank you so much for joining us for Denver 7 News at 5. I'm Ann Trujillo.
I'm Shannon Ogden. Glad you're with us tonight. And tonight we are going in depth on a new scam.
And chances are you might already use the service being targeted. JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citigroup. They're four of the largest banks in the U.S., and all four of those banks own a piece of the service called Zelle. And Zelle is like Venmo, allows you to send money directly to others online or through your phone.
And services like Zelle have skyrocketed since the pandemic. Last year, 1.8 billion transactions were conducted using Zelle. Those payments were up 59% from 2020, and they totaled $490 billion. Now, viewers are reaching out now to contact Denver 7 saying they're being targeted through Zelle. Consumer investigator JACLYN Allen joins us now live.
And JACLYN, you spoke with a woman who is out, what, $3,000 before you got involved?
It's a lot of money, and she's been trying to get that $3,000 back for months. So she reached out to Contact Denver 7 after we started making calls. Wells Fargo actually refunded the money this afternoon. We found banks now under the microscope for not protecting people are quietly giving some money back.
I am a second grade teacher.
Megan McDonald doesn't usually answer the phone during the school day, but when her bank kept calling last December,
The person said that they were a representative from Wells Fargo.
it felt like an emergency.
They asked if I or anyone had spent $3,000 on my account, which I told them no.
The caller walked her through protecting her drained funds using her Wells Fargo app.
And he had me search in my own name.
Through the popular Zelle platform, she transferred the money she thought to herself, but it was actually to a scammer.
What does it mean to you to lose $3,000?
I mean, a lot. I'm a teacher. That is more than I make in a month. I had a hard time paying my mortgage that month. I mean, it's affected me financially a lot.
Contact Denver 7 has learned
the money's gone.
She's part of a disturbing national trend.
Wiped my account out, had a zero balance.
Wells Fargo customers defrauded using Zelle with no protection. Even Congress taking note in this hearing.
The banks are well aware of these scams, but have done little to enhance Zelle's security or reimburse defrauded consumers.
In a statement to Contact Denver 7, the operator of Zelle claims Zelle does not hold the funds and simply provides messaging between financial institutions. So Wells Fargo tells us criminals can spoof a caller ID number so it appears as if a call or text is from your bank, and it's working to raise awareness.
Now when you pull it up, it comes up with this scam alert.
Like this scam alert now on Wells Fargo's app. Too late for Megan, who tried for months to get her money back and now wants others to learn from her mistakes and her banks.
Why did you reach out to Contact Denver 7?
I am, trying to do what's right. Just because their security isn't strong enough, we're getting punished for that or penalized, just doesn't make sense.
So this afternoon, right after that interview, Megan texted, said Wells Fargo put the $3,000 back in her account. Now, the bank would not explain why. In her case, they were refunding the money, but national reports show this is happening more often as more victims come forward. Shannon?
Scary stuff, but she got her money back.
I know, that's the good news.
Good news here. Jacqueline, thanks for your reporting on that. A little bit of context here. It is unclear just how many Americans have been impacted through these scams through Zelle. That's because the company doesn't publicly report it. 2 U.S. senators, though, are trying to change that. Yesterday, Senators Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts and Bob Menendez of New Jersey sent a letter to Zelle's operator asking what steps it had taken to protect consumers from these sophisticated scams. Both senators are on the Senate Banking Committee. Well, today, the director of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau was questioned by that committee on what banks are doing to protect customers from these scams.
I'm certainly aware of the complaints. The fraud has gotten more egregious that we're seeing through P2P payment transfers. It's something we're highly attuned to.
Senators Warren and Menendez also want Zelle to outline how it chooses which customers will receive refunds if they're scammed.
And looking deeper tonight, there are ways to protect yourself and your money. First, don't respond to calls or texts from what appears to be your bank. Scammers can spoof the caller ID. Also, reach out on your own using legitimate sources, such as the number on the back of your debit card. And banks won't ask you to send money to yourself or anyone to stop fraud on your account. Also, remember that Zelle is immediate payment, and just like cash, it's gone when you send it over. So do please be extra careful. Police officers in Evans were involved in a shooting this afternoon, and police aren't being clear just yet if anyone was injured in the shooting that shut down streets near 37th Street and 35th Avenue. And by the time Air Tracker 7 flew over the area, that scene was already cleared.
Well, today work finally began to demolish what is left of the Element Hotel burned in the Marshall Fire. Crews had to bring in some special equipment and a big crane as well to take down the hotel's larger debris that was still standing. Well, today through Friday, the National Guard is doing helicopter training throughout the state with the Colorado Division of Fire Prevention and Control. And tonight we are getting an in-depth look at that training and how crews are preparing for these drier summer months. And you can watch that story tonight on Denver 7 News at 6.
Top U.S. military officials have been meeting with their counterparts in Germany in a show of support for Ukraine as Russia's invasion continues. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin meeting with more than 40 NATO allies and other partners in Germany. And this comes as Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov delivered a chilling message today saying, quote, there is a real risk of nuclear war and that it cannot be underestimated.
Anti-Semitic crimes have reached an all-time high in the U.S. Nearly 2,800 acts of assault, harassment, and vandalism reported in 2021, according to the ADL, and that's about seven acts per day, and the highest number since the Anti-Defamation League started keeping track back in 1979. Incidents targeting Jewish people in Colorado also surged 53% last year. That's the highest in a decade. Colorado reported 92 anti-Semitic incidents, which was the 8th highest number in the whole U.S. Now, the ADL regional director for the Mountain States, which includes Colorado, sent us a statement. It says anti-Semitism is not a hatred confined to the pages of history textbooks. While we will redouble our efforts to confront anti-Semitism and hate, we cannot do it alone.
The director of Colorado Parks and Wildlife is now on administrative leave after he allegedly made a racist comment to another employee. Last night on Denver 7 News at 5, we first introduced you to the woman the comment was directed towards, Alo Lee, who is the statewide partnership coordinator for CPW. Now, she says Director Dan Prenslow made the comment about a week ago during a CPW conference in Vail.
He got on stage in front of 600 people, and in an attempt to thank me and pointing out my position in the room, he said, there she is in the back of the bus, Aloe. That was kind of just like the icing on a very toxic cake.
Lee then sent a letter with support from 100 other CPW workers calling for Prenslow to be fired. Now, shortly after our report on Denver 7 at 5, we learned Prenslow was placed on administrative leave as the investigation into the comment continues. And current Field Services Assistant Director Heather Dugan has taken Prenslow's place as acting director of Colorado Parks and Wildlife.
Well, state senators are now debating how to curb the fentanyl crisis after this contentious bill passed out of the House.
Throughout the debate, we have heard the stories of families affected by fentanyl. And tonight, Denver 7 politics reporter Megan Lopez shares the story of a former drug addict on what he wants to see in the bill.
I'm very open and honest about my crime.
This is a story a lot of people can't relate to.
My drug of choice has been crack cocaine and meth.
It's a story about a series of bad decisions that landed Tripp Freeman in prison.
I was sentenced to 12 years to the Department of Corrections here in Colorado.
But it's also a story about one good choice, the decision he made after leaving prison to enroll in a sober living facility.
I'd done a lot of treatment before in my life, but I'd never done sober living. Hazelbrook provided me an amazing family network of support.
It wasn't an easy decision, but after a lot of time and a lot of work, a chance at recovery. He now serves as the director of operations for that sober living facility. It's a chance Tripp wants others to have, which brought him here.
To hear the voices of all Colorados.
To the Colorado State Capitol in a rally for rehabilitation instead of felony charges for small amounts of fentanyl.
I see everybody coming in that is hot for fentanyl and they do not know that they have it in their system.
House Bill 1326 calls for possession of 1 gram of fentanyl or more to be a felony. 1 gram of pure fentanyl could kill hundreds, even thousands. Compounds are more common. The bill criminalizes 1 gram of both.
I think that 1 gram of fentanyl is okay if we're defelonizing anything under.
But anything less than that he sees as a slippery slope, saying felony convictions make it harder to climb out of the hole of addiction.
It prevents you from doing almost any professional career out there. Prevents you from getting any reliable, stable housing. The housing that you can get is in a poor area, which leaves you vulnerable to more addiction and more relapse.
The bill does offer more funding for rehab and more of a focus on treatment and recovery.
It really can change your life. I'm living proof of that.
But law enforcement says fentanyl is too potent and too deadly to be treated like other drugs, so they'll continue pushing for full criminalization. This is a story a lot of people can't relate to. It's also a story many others can.
Fentanyl is going to continue to hit Colorado, to hit across the United States.
That's why so many are so invested in this fentanyl bill and what it will mean for the state. Megan Lopez, Denver 7.
Just a beautiful day today. I'll let you know which day temperatures get to 80.
We felt like it was super important for students of color to see themselves on Broadway.
9 Broadway shows in just a week. A group of Denver high schoolers got the trip of a lifetime in New York City.
It was super important that we all were able to go on this trip after all the work that we put in to raise the money.
And the Broncos' new head coach gets mic'd up for minicamp.
It's so much fun. I'm like so happy. Finally football.